boxing,
beats and rhymes.
no one can do it better.
From 1983 going into 1984, Mike Mccallum was the WBA's #1 contender at 154. He then became the mandatory for that same title that Duran held. Duran opted, however, to ditch the WBA belt and tackle Tommy Hearns for the WBC 154-pound belt. In hindsight, perhaps Duran should have fought Mccallum. He couldn't have done no worse than he did against Tommy. Tommy obliterated him in 2 rounds. Now, Mike was a member of the Kronk gymnasium, alongside the likes of Tommy Hearns. It's been said that Emanuel Stewart used his influence so Tommy would get the lucrative Duran fight ahead of Mccallum, even though Mccallum was the mandatory for Duran's belt. Tommy was literally Emanuel's son. If Tommy wanted it, Tommy got it. In that year, the mother of Mike's 3-year-old daughter passed away through complications through heart surgery. So when Mike got to fight for the vacant title, November 1984, and they offered him a paltry $30,000 is what I remember him saying. I can't find a video online anywhere. It's the British version of the Mccallum-Sean Mannion fight. I've got it on VHS somewhere. No one's got it uploaded. Although there's a source on Facebook who said he actually got $15,000. This is for a world title. This was on the top rank card. Now, with his 3-year-old daughter in tow and Mike needing the money, he took the fight. He won an ugly 15-round decision. Sean Mannion, an Irishman, had a good chin, didn't punch particularly hard, and he often made fights look a little pedestrian, let's say. Mccallum versus Mannion was on the undercard of Hagler versus Mustafa Hamsho, the second fight. Hagler beat Hamsho for the second time, this time stopping him in 3 rounds. Hagler was absolutely sensational. Mike parted ways with Emanuel Stewart and the Kronk. He believed that all the shine was going towards Tommy and Milton McCrory. In his first defense of that WBA title, he was being advised by Lou Duva and trained by Georgie Benton. Eddie Futch trained him as well. And then it became a war between Mike and the Kronk gymnasium. David Braxton challenged him for that title. From the Kronk, 35-1. Mike stopped him in 8. David Braxton, brother of Dwight Braxton, aka Dwight Muhammad Cowie. Mike destroyed Milton McCrory in 10, another Kronk fighter. Milton gave it his all, but they wouldn't put Tommy Hearns in there with Mike. Their sparring sessions, and Mike is more than holding his own with Tommy. Mike fought on the road, France, Italy, England, America. He did have 2 non-title fights in Jamaica. But Mike was a road warrior. Mike had the spectacular 1-punch left hook finish against Don Curry. What a punch that was. And what a great display of boxing from both men that was. This is all at 154. His 154 record is actually phenomenal, because you add in the second round stoppage of Julian Jackson, where he survived Jackson's best power punches. And he was hurt. Mike was hurt bad. But he rode out the storm and stopped Julian in 2. He challenged for the WBA middleweight title in Italy against Sumbu Kalambe. Sumbu Kalambe was an excellent fighter, and that fight was very close. It was hard to separate them for me. I did kind of believe Mccallum won it, but I have to watch it again. He eventually got hold of the vacant middleweight title to become a 2-weight world champion when he outpointed Harold Graham in the Royal Albert Hall, London. Very, 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 very tough fight that got untidy at times, but it was such a mental battle between the two. Defended it against the likes of Steve Collins, Michael Watson. He fought everybody. You know, like from the hardest punchers in history, Julian Jackson, some of the best boxers, renowned for being avoided, like Harold Graham, technicians and badasses like James Toney. Like the first fight with James Toney was supposed to be a unification, Mccallum's WBA belt against Toney's IBF belt. But there was some mix-up with the sanctioning fees, and only Toney's IBF belt was on the line. If you read any of the reports from the boxing scribes, or if you hear any of the fans who were following boxing at that time talking about that fight, they're just in awe of the technical brilliance of both men. The first fight was scored a draw, very controversial. The second fight, Toney took a majority decision. The third fight, when Mike must have been in his 40s, was at cruiserweight, the old cruiserweight limit of 190. I mean, what were they weighing? 181, 182? Mike was a free weight champion, light middleweight, and he beat the Australian Jeff Harding for that WBC strap at 175. Basically old manned him, used his experience, 37 years of age. And then his last two fights just seemed fitting. He challenged Roy Jones for that WBC light heavyweight title. He wasn't in the fight, let's keep it real. And there's a lot of theories that Roy carried him and didn't want to knock him out of respect for Mike. Mike was a month short of 40. And then he had the third fight with James Toney. Never stopped in 55 fights. One of the best chins, one of the best technicians, the body snatcher, one of the most avoided. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to put no names out there. I don't want to taint the video by saying he ducked. No, I just want to celebrate Mike and big up the Jamaican massive.
Boxing
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.